guys, and welcome back to my channel. So this is the first sit down video that I've done in a while, so please be kind, and I know it is not the most professional setup or anything, but I'm filming this pretty much on a whim, so enjoy. Basically this is going to be if you can't already see from the title, books that make me feel good, books that I recommend that you read during, you know, if you have to stay inside for a while. I'm not necessarily making this a quarantine recommendations video. Please don't come at me with the hate. I am literally doing this just in case you're at a loose end over what kind of books to read. So I have a big stack here that I'm going to get through, and there's kind of a mixture between different books. Personally, I find that reading shorter books makes me a little bit happier because it makes me feel more accomplished when I finish a book, rather than taking like 2 weeks to finish a huge book. Crescent City. I'm still not finished that, but yeah. So these are books that made me feel really good because I finished them really quickly, or they just made me feel really good. They're not all necessarily really happy books, but I recommend that you read these anytime, but especially now that we've got so much time to stay inside. So the first up here I have is The Deathless Girls by Kieran Millwood Hargrave. I read this book a couple of months ago and I devoured it in like a day, and it was just so good. It was like a modern twist on Dracula, I think. It had a lot of elements of Dracula in this, which I thought was really unique. I've never read anything like this before. It follows two sisters whose family was like murdered, and then they need to go like find everything. It's just really, really good. Also, this cover is amazing, so go check that out, definitely. Okay, the next book is not necessarily a happy book, but it is Number the Stars by Lois Lowry. I read this book in an hour, I think, because it is super short. This follows in Denmark, I believe, a family in Denmark, and they hide their best friend who is Jewish. And oh yeah, this takes place during World War II. And it's just so heartwarming, and yet it's a kid's book, so it doesn't go into too much detail about the graphics of what's happening during World War II, but it does kind of give you an insight. So if you know a little bit of background on it, you can put two and two together. But for children, it doesn't go into too much detail, and it leaves like everything pretty open-ended, so you like, it's not necessarily too sad, but you can still take a lot from this. I definitely recommend that you read this for a very short read. It's amazing. The next book, again, I read in a day, and it is again another World War II historical fiction. I probably should have organized these, but I did not get around to that. So this one is Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Sepetys. This is an amazing book. This takes a little bit of a different twist during World War II because it follows a girl and her family in Lithuania, and this is a part of the war that I wasn't too like familiar with, because I've heard about, you know, in Britain and the evacuation and everything, and Germany and the Holocaust, and then this took like with the Red Army, which are the Soviets, and it kind of just took out over that. I'm talking very politically now, which is very unlike me, but like, yeah, it's not a very political book. It is, but like it isn't. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. It's a great book. It is very, very sad at times and very, very heartwarming at times, and I definitely recommend that you read this. She also has another book, Salt to the Sea. I recommend that you read that as well. I'm going to be reading that very soon. Yes, okay, the next book is a childhood favourite of mine, and that is Lily Alone by Jacqueline Wilson. So for this recommendation, I am obviously recommending this book. I'm recommending all books by Jacqueline Wilson, but also I am in general recommending you to read a childhood favourite. It will make you happy. It will make you think back to when you read that book years ago, and it will definitely make you happy. Yeah, so this book is about this girl named Lily. I think she's about 11, and her mum goes on holidays, and she is left to look after her siblings, and they don't really have money. They kind of have to like hide from people who are trying to get them to go to school, get them to, you know, so they're trying to forage, they're trying to survive, and it's just really, really good. And I remember reading this years ago. I've reread this so many times, and it just always brings me happy memories, even though it's not a necessarily happy book, but it just has a lot of happy memories for me, and I would love to reread this again very soon. The next book is a book that I read a couple of weeks ago during my midterm break, so if you haven't seen that vlog yet, go check it out. Okay, and this is Love Boat Taipei by Abigail Hing Wen. Hope I'm saying that correctly. This book is amazing. Like, this was my highlight of February, and I read so many good books in February. This follows a girl named Ever Wong whose parents want her to become a doctor, and she doesn't want to be a doctor, she wants to be a dancer. So they send her to this summer camp in Taiwan, I think, or Taipei, but I think it's Taipei in Taiwan. I'm not sure. And she's expecting this to be really boring, but it's actually the time of her life, and it's not quite as strict as her parents thought it was going to be. So she kind of discovers who she is, discovers what she really wants to do, and yeah, it's amazing. Go read this. Everybody go read this. It's amazing. And I think it's a debut novel as well, which is just fabulous. The next book I actually finished yesterday or the day before, I cannot remember, all the days are melting into one, and this is a middle grade book, and it is The House of 100 Clocks by A.M. Howell. This book is phenomenal. I gave it 4.5 stars because there was a lot in this book that I kind of predicted early on and then weren't revealed until the end, because this is a middle grade book, so it's for younger readers, if we're going to be all stereotypical, but I don't agree with that. But anyways, yeah, so I read this book, but I would totally recommend you reading this. It's very short. I read it in a very quick time, which is good because I'm a quite slow reader, so reading quick books makes me very motivated to read more. I don't know if anybody else is like that, but I'm like that. This takes place in 1905, and this girl and her father move into this house, and he is given the task of mending the clocks, and if he lets the clock stop, the man who owns the house, who's a really wealthy man, will take away all of their possessions. And basically then there's some like weird things happening in the house, and they need to kind of fit together pieces of the puzzle before it's too late. I definitely recommend you read this. It will keep you engrossed with every page. The next one will be no shock to anybody. It is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Not necessarily just the Philosopher's Stone, the whole Harry Potter series, but I'm not getting up and carrying that whole series down. So I'm going to start with the first one. This series brings me back to when I read it like years ago. It's so happy. It's just, when you're reading this, you forget about everything that's going on in the world, which is exactly what we need right now. We just need to forget about everything and read, and this is such a magical read, especially the earlier books are kind of like happier, they deal with more light-hearted topics. All of them are amazing. I feel like I don't need to tell you what this is about because everybody knows what Harry Potter is about, but like, read it. Okay, I've got a couple more left on this stack. So the next one is a mystery book, and it is Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. Again, I suggest you reading this whole trilogy that consists of Truly Devious, The Vanishing Stair, and The Hand on the Wall. I've actually read all three, so for me to read the whole series is amazing because I always lose interest in a series. This takes place at a boarding school, and Stevie Bell, it's not a regular boarding school. Kids are accepted in and they get to follow their own path. Like, they get to choose what they want to do. They don't have to do like every topic, like every subject. So Stevie Bell gets admitted because she is a crime fanatic and she wants to solve the mystery that happened there like 100 years or 50 years previous or whatever. And she is convinced that she can solve the case, and it just goes through that. There's things happening in the present, there's crimes happening in the present, there's crimes happening in the past. It's amazing. I can't even put it into words how amazing this trilogy is, and I want to reread it like right now. So I might do that. Wow, this video was meant to be inspirational for you, but it's actually encouraging me to reread books when I have a TBR a mile long. Yay. Okay. The next book is another middle grade, and I read this one back in December, I think, and it was so cute, so wholesome, so deep as well in places, and it is The House with Chicken Legs by Sophie Anderson. This book is, yeah, this book is phenomenal. It is about this girl who lives in a house with chicken legs with her grandmother, Baba Yaga. And she dreams of a normal life. She wants everything to be normal, but she doesn't really appreciate what she has until it's taken away from her. And it's just her dealing with her life in confinement. Sorry about that. I only have 2 books left, but one of them is a series, so technically I have 4. The next one that I'm going to recommend to you is the Heartstopper comics. Are these in order? These are amazing. They're so heartwarming. They're so amazing. I definitely recommend that you read these. You will get through these in like an hour for each of them, even though they get even like thicker with each book, but that's just amazing. Totally recommend that you read this. The last book that I have to recommend to you is one again that I read a couple of weeks ago. Loved it so much, and it is Tweet Cute by Emma Lord. This is such an amazing book. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. It's about these 2 kids who they know each other in school, but they're not friends. They're not necessarily enemies, but they're not friends. And there's a Twitter war going on between these 2 like restaurant companies, and neither of them know that they're on the opposing side until they do, and then they decide to keep going but not make it personal, and it's so good. I totally recommend that you read this. It will make you feel amazing. It's about 400 pages, but you do not feel that go. And also, it's a floppy paperback, so need I say more? That is all my recommendations for this video, guys. I hope that you like it and that nobody takes offense from it, because it is just me trying to, you know, keep the morale high, I guess. So don't come for me. And if you read any of these books, or you have read any of these books, let me know down below, because I would love to chat to you about them. Thank you so much for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you would like to stick around, and I will see you again in the next video.